Good morning. Well, that's one crack in the armor. Markets are down a little bit today, as you can see. We'll see how far this goes. Right now, not a big deal. That's kind of a big deal. Actually, I was looking at this over the weekend, and as we look at charts every day, every week, we look at patterns that might suggest the next move. It didn't suggest this. It was a little sloppy, but I had seen the strength of this move up into resistance, was pulling back into these converging moving averages and thought, well, you know what? If we could get maybe a bottoming tail bar or something that could gap down and reversal, it may be something that could play catch up with these markets. Well, did a hiccup yesterday. And a lot of the stocks within this sector broke down and they look like they're going lower. So this is the retailing sector. What are consumers doing? And I suspect there must have been some news yesterday because if you look at Target and Macy's and DG and a whole lot of others, it doesn't look too healthy. So, and in addition, I saw, I don't figure where I read it, probably in the Wall Street Journal, or it could have been Market Watch, about credit card companies reporting that there was a significant decrease in charges recently. I suppose the uncertainty about the Middle East and tariffs and who knows what's going to happen, we'll do that. So it was one little crack, and looking at, there was no cracks there. They're down here a bit. So whenever we look at a gap, and this doesn't trade that actively, it's the technology sector, we'll look at the semiconductors. But whenever we see a gap down below a green bar's low, it's the start of a bearish day. Right? It's still in an uptrend. Where does it close? It could be a gap down and a move back up again, but a gap down and a close, as it gets deeper into a wide range bar. And yesterday we talked about wide range bars signaling the potential for consolidation, a short term end of the move, not an ultimate end to the move. And so at this point, pullbacks, assuming that this is a red day and maybe today is the high, give or take. It's an options expiration, so I don't expect anything of great significance short term because of the options expiration. But you could have percentage-wise quite a decent pullback, which would be a buying opportunity. Now, as long as it doesn't come all the way down here, and there's nothing to suggest that right now. Whatever news comes out of the China trip and whatever's happening in the Middle East, maybe that could get something rolling to the downside. We'll see. New Fed chair and all of this coming together at one time. Significant inflection point for the markets. It's May. It's not over. So far, May is going, broader markets are going up. But when I saw, XRT dropping, look at this one. Look at the semiconductors. This other semiconductor index. Wide range bar. Well, here's another one for you. And this doesn't trade as actively, but it must be gapping down, and we'll see what stocks within this particular ETF are going to pull back. And so that always lends to a consideration for call spreads at the beginning of a turn. And we'll see what kind of a ending turn we get. SMH which is what's primarily talked about, has moved less than the other. But that one contracted a little bit yesterday, and this one trades more actively. You see where it is right now. It's gapping down below a green bar's low. And if it cannot regain that, it's bearish. Now, the bottom of that wide range bar is a significant reference point since it's a breakout and above those two bars. And just drag this up for now. We've got an unfilled gap down there. And as prices pull back, we mark off our reference points as to where buyers will want to consider bailing, and where others would want to consider getting in. And those that are getting in here, I'm sure, are questioning that decision this morning with this gap down. But look, when prices are moving like this and the sector's hot, it's all about it'll be okay. And look, over here was the beginning. You'd need a gigantic stop. These were giant gaps back there. But when this is down, could be, 15, 20, 25%. Might not be such a big deal versus this move. But when you're down 25% on your capital, it tends to be a big deal. All right, I haven't even looked at SPX here, but I'll check that out while I'm talking here. So let's look at the futures. No big deal. Consolidation, be a big deal if it closes under that bar's low sometime this week. 7,400, 7,350, and of course, 7,300. A move under there that will shake any short-term bull's confidence. Because right now, one little red bar, not even at 6:30, 9:30, is going to shake too much confidence. But so far, that's just a stall. We've seen this breadth gauge down here, over here near the zero line, but as we review, we could look at many, many sector charts, and a lot of them are just marking time while semiconductors and some of the tech stocks have been moving up. So under the hood, we knew something was wrong, but you're thinking maybe they catch up. Now it looks like maybe the catch up is going to be in the other direction. This coming down over the next probably couple of weeks. All right, let's see where the spiders are. Let me take a peek over here. Okay. So spiders, not gapping under that bar, but it's still early. You can see there's an unfilled gap and the red bar is ignored and bullish move higher. And let's make some adjustments here. This 23. Really? Sometimes I look at this because it's so unusual. It's like, could this be right? These are yesterday's numbers. And this says higher. If that isn't complacency, I don't know what is. How could it come up and the market's gapping down? This makes no sense. $74.40. This went up too. Are all these numbers wrong over here? Is the market actually up on the day? It's not. That seems a little bearish sign to me. It actually moved up about 10 strikes. That's weird. All right, so we know spiders are about there. That call strike is like right there. And I would not be surprised to see this go up, maybe try and push up there and then pull back. It's just weird. Weird. I think I've seen it once before, but anyway, that put strike is right at a whole number. It's below the red bar. So even for SPY, if the market does continue lower, and I'm just looking at my other screen, so it's probably why it's still gapping down, but spiders poked up a little bit about 5 minutes ago, relatively wide 5-minute. That's like a 30-minute bar. Look at my other screen here. It made a new low and popped right back up again. All right, so I guess that explains it a little bit. It's still gapping down, and near that low there. So, um, so whole numbers. There's a void down below. There's no way I believe that's going anywhere near down there today. Of course, uh, probably more likely it stays between this area somewhere in here. But we'll see how far it moves down. Remember, the unfilled gap. This is an inside gap right here. It's a gap in between bars. You do have a higher pivot low on the 65-minute. Forget these because this isn't updating right now. Um, let's just go back to SPY for a moment. Which these are updated to see where these pivot lines are. There's that little pop up there. So if it was to rally up into this area, right, that congestion and that trader pivot line is probably where sellers would show up. But more bearishly is how when prices gap down like this and move down, you can see it's on this support area. Um, the more it can't move up toward filling a gap or get up toward that resistance. Obviously, it's more bearish. Whereas we've had other gap downs, right, on this way up, they don't fill gaps and they keep going up. That's bullish. Now we'll see what this does. Right. You can see the cues there. That's gapping below a narrow range bar. It's low. And there's your wide range bar suggesting that momentum would stall. I posted a video yesterday, a short one, and showed the same concept on USO, which marked the short-term high. So the concept is universal to all time frames. You just have to put it in the context of higher time frames. So, all right, let's continue. Same analysis. We'll see, how far this moves up by the open or the lack thereof in the first 15, 20 minutes. So the Russell has been jiggling around. That's a highly technical term. That's gapping down a little bit. It's in this trading range. So it's in an uptrend. This is consolidating. One of the things yesterday was KRE. It's like, what? There was another crack, right, in the armor. It's like, that move up, it's consolidating. It's not participating, but could it play some catch up? Could it not gap, or just take out that high and we get participation? There were a lot of regional bank stocks that were looking pretty good, like they could go higher. And they didn't. I think this one is a regional bank. And this one here, I was looking over the weekend. I was like, all right, can this clear these highs? And it had gapped up. It was going sideways near this resistance, that prior move up, and it went down. Not a significant thing, but these 3-bar reversal patterns and holding the gap were supportive that it would go up. And regional banks took it on the chin yesterday. All right. Bitcoin down a little bit today. It's consolidating near that pivot high. So far, it's okay. Sideways at resistance. Let's see if it holds up here, what that's going to do. Crude oil, as you can see, is up. Still within a big, wide, whippy trading range. Middle East, China, all this drama that's going on. So oil's up a little bit. Bonds are down. Right? So yesterday, I was like, the markets were holding up pretty well. And I mentioned in the room, like, interest rates are going up. No one cares. No one's paying attention to it. Bond prices, come down. Interest rates go up. And there's the 10-year. You can see, got to go up, right? It's gapping up here. So what does that mean? Oil goes up, interest rates goes up, inflation concerns, and we go through this schizophrenic, right, Oh my God, I'm so concerned. Maybe I'm not so concerned. Oh yeah, I'm concerned. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. So that's the mode the market's in right now. And you want to be aware of if this continues to move up toward those highs, because if it's taken out those highs, odds are something bad must have happened. All right, gold, that's copper. That's moving up, so that looks great. Gold is here, it's down. So it's consolidating. Last week, we were expecting it to go down to the 200 and that support, and then it popped up and it's going sideways at the top of this wide range bar where there's resistance and a declining 50 MA. So we're waiting to see what is it going to do here. This isn't a pattern that communicates to me taking action, whereas it changed from it's not going down, flipped up, but it's at resistance and the moving averages set alerts and see what it might do. Silver moved on its own and closed above that pivot high. It's consolidating a little bit. So looking good. Red bar in context of this move up is not a big deal. We'll see if we can get a continuation pattern there in the coming days. YM, I sure thought this was going to, well, it came back up off of the lows, but yesterday, where it was here, it was like, the pullback should be buyable. I was like, oh yeah, great. And was it here or was it here? We get, it's probably 15-minute was yesterday. I forget wherever it was setting up. I think it was over here, and it went right back down to the lows again, and then came back up again. It's just been all over the place, but so far this is holding up relatively well because it didn't move up like everything else, and that's it. As always, we'll see how the day goes and whether this down move that started in some of the leaders follows through to some degree. To you, Dan.
Oh, morning. Yeah, there's a big short author came out last night, playing markets, NASDAQ, and summarized a little bubble. Who knows how much of this gap down is because of that? Inflation numbers really did nothing. People predicted higher inflation. That's what we got. And it was interesting, even CNBC showed the Kalshi, I think that's how you pronounce it, the betting site, that I think it was like 84% expected to be greater than the 3.6 expected. And I would have taken that bet too. And then it was 3.7. But the markets were already down before that came out. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. Yeah, there's a couple of these Ricky things. Did earnings. See if we can get a 1, 2, 3. It's bottoming pattern on the weekly. You, Roy. Yeah, agree. Agree. It's the resistance. So say 1, 2, 3, 4 would be better. I just had microchip alarm. This is a call spread. There's a lot of unsecured climbers on the semis. So we put on one yesterday. We put on MU gap and crap. We're getting a nice gap down here. So now the coast is clear in terms of minimum break even. I like Intel. We were watching yesterday and I wanted to wait for the end of the day. And so we waited on that one, but now with the gap down, it's similar to MU. Wide range ending, far from the 20. So there'll be a lot of semis to consider. AMTM alarm. This is a short. It had earnings, but this is a continuation short pattern. I will set an alarm at 24. JD. My up alarm went off. Sloppy 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's put spread watch. TME bottoming pattern 977, but no, this prior high is it's gapping right to that prior high. Figure that's a more mature bottoming pattern above the 2050, a little breakdown failure. It's cleared this resistance, so that one I like. I have it here in the middle chart figure. E-tour. It's possible continuation pattern, but it gave up its gap here. So maybe set an alarm of 40 spot 80. Let's see if 30-minute high what it does. What we're in the short. My low alarm went off, so that's out of right now. Very easy management. Looks great. Stats. We are long. We sold a third at the high yesterday. It's gapping down here. All right, I'll watch that just to protect our gains. Those are all the alarms tomorrow. It's gapping down. What do you want to do with that, Alex? I see nothing to do with that. All right, let's go top of earnings here. I deleted a bunch already. Plug. This was the only earnings one I did. I sold the $13 puts, so they're going to be in good shape here. I have an alarm at 360, and so I may just do nothing with them unless my 360 alarm goes off, in which case then I'll close them for profit. Um, I was considering the 24 puts, but there wasn't enough premium. That's a bearish gap. So now it's a call spread idea, or maybe condor if you can get enough. But you would have to do the 20s and the 28s or 9s, but we'll come back. Rick Taylor's quantum computing, that's the one we just looked at. ASTS 7350, that's a bearish gap, but no pattern. Here's another quantum 1287, big old gap up. But nothing, what do you want me to do now? Blink up at $1.04, penny stock over the counter. This was a nice 1, 2, 3 right there. Figure we looked at the alarm went off. This is a sloppy buy setup, but now it's 59. It could be a 30-minute high, maybe day trade, but it's a buy setup that didn't come down fluid with those two gaps there. Bucket 920 bearish gap, no pattern. Yes, I saw this one yesterday getting killed. Look at that. That's a nasty gap. So I have that in the bottom right here. We'll see if, when I look, see if somebody knew something into earnings. Look at that ugly reversal bar on volume. You better believe it. H-lid 14, could be a short-term exhaustion. Gap and crab. H-lid. Nitro, 33 bucks, bearish gap, no pattern, no, PAX 38, that's a pro igniting gap, but it's excessive. So gotta see how it trades. This BuzzFeed, some media guy bought a huge chunk of it, big old gap, no pattern. SE 95, there's a good one. That's an igniting gap. So it's gapping the resistance, but let's watch a pullback. So that's turning that pattern into a nice bottoming pattern. I'll put that in the window, southeast. JD, I mentioned, my alarm went off. Mayor, that's like IPO. No pattern, but it's off to a good start. TME, that's the one I said has to get a little higher for a bottoming pattern. Zebra, that's another igniting gap. Another igniting gap from a bottoming pattern. Let's watch that on a pullback. And put spread. MWH, that looks like a recent IPO. Gap in the 49, no pattern, but they're off to a good start. Another quantum stock. Gapping down, no pattern. Look how the weeklies all look so similar. AMTM, that's one I said I like short under yesterday's low. I got an alarm. ROW. That was a nice closing breakout, gap in the flow to 57. All right, so that might be a day trade short and a call spread. I know there's weeklies because this is the monthly expiration. So RAL, I'll watch, and the call spread. There's your e-tour. Yeah, I'll set an alarm and well, wow, that was up big because 40 is here. Yeah, it's gotta let that one settle down. UAA gapping down $5. That's a big percent. $1 divided by 6. That's getting whacked. Under Armour. So Greg mentioned retail week. That's a retailer. And this one gapping up to 63. This would have been a good 1, 2, 3, but gapping up. We'll watch a pullback. Those are all their earnings. These are miscellaneous things I'm watching. Curdo, I'm watching for 1, 2, 3. So I like the gap down. I can visually see it's still in the upper third. So that's fine. Papalima, see, you see how that one's deeper? I can see it both on the daily and the 15th. I'm done with you. Visa, look, only down 13 cents. So that's relative strength. I like this over yesterday's high, buy setup. Intel call spread mentioned. Gemini, a little breakout pattern, but coming in pace C. I was hoping it'd go sideways another day or two, just because that's some crazy up and down whip. XRT. Greg mentioned that, but Target, yeah, that's down 4 bars on support. An AEO would have been a beautiful short yesterday. That was a breakdown, but Now you're getting, now it's a moving train. Same with DG, would have been a great entry yesterday. Macy's, I wish it had a better void, but it's a call spread. If there's any juice. I will do the 1950s. 10 cents by 80. Just so these spreads last couple of months have been so annoying. All right, MU are in. Intel's bouncing a little bit here. Let me see where the call spread premium is at. We were going to do the 140, 145. We're not going to get filled on Intel. So, well, we might on a bounce. It's 50 cents right now, and I wanted 70. USB. Yeah, yeah, more of a day trade because I'm not sure of the target, but sure. Let's see this figure middle chart. All right, so it gave up its gap, so no interest in that anymore. PISX, gap's huge. AMTM, I mentioned short. Thing's whipping all over the place. I would wait 5 minutes. Let me get rid of figure. AMTM. I mean, that's a big old range in the first 2 minutes of trading. I plug. My alarm went off earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and bid 2 cents to kill it. I sold it at 13. It's around. That's a big gap. Oh. Uh, the 60s are zero by $1. So forget about that. Unless you get a day trade set up. Visa triggered cleanly, relative strength. I'm out of my plug. I just got filled at the 2 cents.
MO's making a turn, made a turn. 5-minute high.
Hmm. I'll watch it, but I'm sloppy still. EWBC, that's another bank short. Alarm went off. Alice. Alex, I just called you Alice. Was that ever a nickname of yours? So Alice, this one has stronger than your UBS, but this has a nice void to fall. So I like this day trade, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. So everyone, that's a good day trade. Just that's what I don't care about. Put our visa down there, monitoring. Microchip. Oh, hey, there you go. Let's check call spread on this. The things are kind of all over the place today. Netflix rallying the most. Microsoft's giving it up right now. Intraday. All right, this would be the 105s. 20 cents by 50. So there's no juice, but day trade 5-minute low. I like. Well, it's already a 5-minute low, 936. And all right, 10-minute low. That's a day trade short. Sure. Yeah, that looks like a swing. I looked for call spread yesterday, but it was only like freaking 12 cents or something. Let me check for a call spread tomorrow, the 610s. Yeah, there's juice, 610. No, there's not. 35 cents is the midpoint. That's the problem. Or else I guess what I'm gonna post about. MU alarm. We're already in it.